Welcome, students, to Coach Elliott's dance fitness class. This is Miss Demke bringing your lesson to you today. Our today's lesson will be on one of our health components. We are continuing our nutrition lessons, and today is a very special lesson that I have prepared for you just because it's something that I take very personal and has really helped me in my life. So I really hope and look forward to sharing this information with you so that you can apply it and reap the benefits from knowing this information. I wanted to piggyback off of some of the things that we've been discussing in class about we've been talking about how to cope with anxiety and depression and keeping our bodies healthy. So, other forms of coping with our stresses without vaping, no vape, just meditate. And we've addressed some of our vitamin D, our iron, how we can do our tension release yoga and exercises, TPE, I believe is what it's called. And there's a plethora or a lot of resources out there to help us coping with stress. So today we are going to be talking about the stress hormone cortisol and what cortisol is, how it functions in our bodies, and what happens when it gets out of control and there's an imbalance in our body. Now let's think for a moment, how do we notice when our bodies are stressed? So what do you notice about yourself when you start to become stressed? So let's take a moment and think about that. What things occur? I came up with a short list of things that may occur when we are stressed, such as our heart rate starts to increase. So you'll notice your heart start to pound. You may start to shake or have slight tremors in your muscles. I know I get this when I'm severely stressed. My hands will start shaking. Sometimes you will start to breathe shallow, so you can't take as deep of breaths, or you may have an increased breathing rate. Muscle tension, that's common, and it often leads to tension headaches. So in the neck, in the shoulders, we clench our jaws sometimes. Upset stomach. Constipation, that tightening of the tension, it not only happens in our neck, but it also happens in our intestines. And so everything gets tightened up there. Racing thoughts, so it's hard to calm the mind. Inability to focus, nervousness, and we become easily agitated. Now, where do these come from? It's not just something that we choose mentally or consciously. Hey, I'm stressed, so I'm going to make sure my heart rate increases, or I'm feeling anxious, so I'm going to make sure my stomach becomes upset. That's not how it works. There's actually hormones in our bodies as cortisol. This is what cortisol does in our bodies. So let's learn a little bit more about this. So what is cortisol? It's a hormone, and what Dr. Sarah Gottfried has explained it as is a powerful stress hormone. It tells the body how to react in times of stress. And what WebMD.com says is that it's nature's built-in alarm system for your body. It works with parts of your brain to control your mood, motivation, and fear. Cortisol is a necessary hormone in our bodies. I want you guys to realize that although we think of stress as a negative thing, we want to look at it also as a positive thing. Without feeling stress, we wouldn't have motivation to get things done. Without stress, we wouldn't protect our families or try to protect our lives. So there's a lot of good things that stress can do for us. But we look and we experience stress a lot of times in the negative way, where it often overwhelms us and at times can shut us down. So let's look at what different things cortisol, because it's a necessary hormone, what are some of the things that it does in the body that are good? So one, it manages how your body uses carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So it controls how we burn our energy stores in our body. It keeps inflammation down. It helps regulate your blood pressure. It increases your blood sugar, controls your sleep and wake cycle, and also boosts energy so you can handle stress and restores balance afterwards. So, like I said, cortisol has a lot of positive functions in the body that are necessary for us to function. But what happens when it gets out of hand? We can experience high cortisol. So let's look at, why do we need to know about cortisol? It is a hormone. Well, let's go back to what hormones do in the body. Not just cortisol, but a lot of us are familiar with estrogen, testosterone. Those are hormones. There's plenty more hormones that we can discuss, and one of them today is cortisol. So overall, hormones in general control energy levels, stress, weight, metabolism, and mental focus. Cortisol is a potent hormone and can cause imbalances with your other hormones if it is continuously produced. So if it doesn't shut off, if your body doesn't learn how to shut off that stress hormone, what cortisol does is it hijacks your system, meaning that it's going to dominate all your other hormones so that they end up not being able to function properly. And then we end up with a hormonal imbalance, which can interfere with our sleeping patterns, can cause us to gain weight, can make us feel even more stressed. So there's a lot of ways that these hormones in our bodies are working interconnectedly. They function together to maintain balance in our body. Cortisol is one of them, but if cortisol is produced more so, it ends up becoming queen of your body. And we don't want that. We don't want cortisol to always be queen. We need to let the other hormones also be able to balance and function in our body. So why do we want to know about cortisol? Because we want to know how to keep our hormones balanced for maintaining optimal health, mood, mental focus, and energy. So we want to be happy and well overall. So we know that stress can have an ongoing effect on our bodies, and what results is we experience chronic high cortisol. If we don't learn how to deal with our stress, the stress ends up ruling. And so what does it mean to have chronic high cortisol? It means that after moments of stress, instead of the body being able to rebalance and normalize itself, it stays in a state of high stress mode. A metaphor that WebMD provided was that the alarm system in the body doesn't turn off the alarm even after the threat is gone. So pretend that the alarm's going off in your body. You're like, oh my goodness, I got to deal with this. Well, once you've dealt with it, instead of the body being able to shut off the alarm saying, okay, there's no more threat, we're calm now, everything's good, the body keeps that alarm on even though there's nothing wrong or nothing's the matter. So we want to be able to learn how to turn that alarm switch off. Some symptoms that if you've experienced high cortisol for a long period of time, some of the symptoms include anxiety and depression, headaches, heart disease, memory and concentration problems, problems with digestion, trouble sleeping, and ultimately leads to weight gain. So these are reasons why we don't want to have chronic high cortisol and why we want to be able to maintain calm and be able to reduce stress in our lives. So how do we manage our cortisol so that all the hormones can stay balanced? We ultimately want to reduce the stress in our lives. And keep in mind, this is not a comprehensive list of all the ways that we can reduce our stress. This is just some of the ideas that we have in some resources that you guys can do at home right now. One of them is to meditate, becoming mindful of what our body's experiencing and being able to control our breathing. Yoga. Yoga is a great way to deal with high cortisol because you still get to build muscle, you're still exercising without increasing your adrenaline. Because if you up your adrenaline, well, it's stressful on the body, so then what else goes up? Cortisol. Yoga is a nice way to exercise, build that muscle without raising your adrenaline or your cortisol, so it helps your body maintain that balance and helps it keep it under stress. Next, we journal. We can journal out our feelings. We need an outlet to express our negative emotions or even our positive ones. Get into a state of happiness. Journaling is a great way without it affecting those loved ones around us. Instead of taking out our anger on them, journaling is another outlet, and it is a healthy way to experience our emotions. Walking in nature and other forms of self-care. Like I've said and taught you guys before, and hopefully you guys remember, you can even look it up if you don't, ways to take care of oneself, self-care. We have the mental, we have the physical, and we have the emotional and social. There's a lot of forms of self-care out there, so make sure you're taking care of yourself. Another thing, avoid caffeine. That increases your heart rate, and it increases and wreaks havoc on your adrenal system and also keeps cortisol up. I hope you guys aren't drinking any alcohol, but as an adult, you want to make wise choices. You want to limit alcohol consumption because that can also disrupt your hormonal balance. Next, practice forgiveness. So if you're holding on to anger or there's a lot of anger in your life, that's also stressful on your body, and that's going to keep your cortisol levels really high. Another thing that I want to address and talk about are the different types of supplements that can support the body during stressful times. Now, we not always have the financial resources for supplements, but I want to share this knowledge with you guys at this time so that later in life, if you do have those resources and funds, you are able to go out and purchase some supplements that have been recommended by Dr. Sarah Gottfried in her book called The Hormone Cure. And I got to tell you guys, this book and some of these supplements have been a lifesaver for me. And that's why I want to share it with you today. So our B vitamins. You might often see B complex helps reduce the stress. Those B vitamins are energizing to our bodies, and they really can help sustain our bodies. Next, vitamin C, it protects us from, it's an antioxidant, and so it protects us from our body getting worn down from the stressors in life. Phosphatidylglycerin. Don't know how that's pronounced, you guys. I have not taken this particular supplement. It's a phosphate lipid in pill form, but it has been shown in certain studies to reduce cortisol. I personally have not taken that. Fish oil is great for just mental focus. L-lysine combined with L-arginine. Now, I don't know if you guys remember back when you guys take your life sciences, amino acids are the building blocks to life. They build protein, and DNA is made out of protein. So many parts of our bodies are made out of protein, and what lysine and arginine are amino acids. Some research has been shown that when you combine lysine with arginine, taken together, can actually help reduce cortisol levels. It helps to dilate blood vessels in your body to increase blood flow, and it actually helps to calm the heart and calm those stress levels down. Personally, I have taken the lysine with arginine, and boy, it's been a lifesaver on so many times in my life. I'm very passionate about it, and I try to share it with everyone that I know. Lysine with arginine. Other option is L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is also amino acid, and it actually helps other hormones such as your thyroid hormones. So tyrosine is a good one. Personally, when I have taken the amino acids, I alternate between tyrosine and the lysine with the arginine, just because we don't want to overdo things in our body. And just keep in mind that if you choose to go the supplement route, you guys, avoid doing it too often or too much, because the opposite of high cortisol is low cortisol. And again, that's an imbalance in our hormones. If you have low cortisol, that means that there's not enough stressing in our life to get us to do anything. So it impairs our motivation and our energy levels to get up and going. So if you experience low cortisol, you're going to be a little bit more exhausted, well, not exhausted, but you'll just be tired and you'll lack that motivation to get up and do anything. And we don't want that in life. We want to be able to be productive and enjoy life. There's so many things. So be careful if you do choose to do the supplement route that you don't overdo it. And please be sure to research more on this. What I'm recommending is only information that I've received in my own experience, and it's been recommended by Dr. Sarah Gottfried, but that doesn't mean that it's absolute truth, you guys. So please consider this information and further research it to see if it makes sense to you and if it'll be beneficial for you to do. At this time, we are going to take a moment to practice reducing our cortisol through breathing techniques that I have found helpful. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing some breathing techniques, you can use this time to get out a paper and pencil and record some of your feelings, to start journaling. And that way you can also release or just clear out your emotions, and it helps to reduce stress. Some resources that you might want to look into for breathing techniques is heart math. It is scientifically based and researched to help with reducing stress, and it is a breathing tool to use, although it does cost money. If you want some free resources, there are videos on YouTube, breathing bubbles, and they're as short as 2 minutes. So you can find those. The one that I have pictured here on the slide is Breathe to Calm, I believe is what it's called. And it basically just has a circle in the middle, and you follow the dot, and it prompts you when to breathe in and when to breathe out, and it has relaxing music to it as well. For copyright purposes, I cannot play the video on this PowerPoint, but I will guide you through a type of breathing exercise. I will turn on a little bit of music, so go ahead and sit comfortably in your chair. Go ahead and relax your shoulders and relax your jaw. You will go ahead and close your mouth to breathe in through your nose, and then we'll breathe out our mouth. And you feel free to close your eyes if you'd like to. So when we do take our breaths in, I want you guys to focus on your heart. And as you breathe in, go ahead and feel your heart expand. And as you breathe out, go ahead and feel your heart kind of contract back in. So this is kind of what heart math does, is it's just focusing on the heart area as you expand your heart field, and then it contracts your heart field. Heart field. There's a magnetic field around your heart, and so it's just focusing on breathing in and expanding and contracting. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So we'll go ahead and we'll breathe in and breathe out slowly. Breathe in and breathe out. And focus on your heart area to expand as you breathe in and breathe out. Focus on breathing deep into your belly as the air fills up all the way to the top of your lungs, and then breathe out. was about 2 minutes of breathing. That song was Cristofori's Dream by David Lance. If you want to look that up, that's free on Amazon Prime Music. And I hope you guys were able to relax and calm your systems down through that breathing. I would love for you to jot down what you experienced from that, how you're feeling. If you have a paper and pencil nearby, to just jot that down. And if you want to give feedback to Coach Elliott to see if this lesson was helpful for you, both her and I would appreciate that, knowing how we can better help you and serve you guys as your teachers and on your path to growth and development. Here are some references for you guys if you want to do some additional study for yourself. I got the information about cortisol off of webmd.com. And additionally, there's a book called The Hormone Cure by Dr. Sarah Gottfried. And she has a lot of resources, even a test that you can take, a questionnaire, to see what areas or what hormones are out of balance. And then she gives some recommendations as her professional doctor experience has in working with different patients. So you can always look into that book and see if that's helpful. I really hope this information has been helpful for you guys and that you can reap the benefits on maintaining and balancing your hormones, especially getting that stress under control. So I hope you all have a blessed day and look forward to working with you guys next time.